Okay, today's project is part of our Subaru Loves the Earth celebration, and I'm going over the tree swallow boxes along the Indian River. These are placed last year. It was a great idea. The trouble was that if you take a look at the tab right here, the raccoons are able to pull that right open. So what I've done now is I've gone in and I've inserted a screw on the side of the box through the door so that it can't be opened. And then hopefully the raccoons will leave it alone this time. Last year we had one attempted nesting. It wasn't even in this box. I've got two others to check, and as you see from here, we're in a fairly urban environment. Shopping mall right behind us. Nice marshy area, great area for the swallows to feed. You can hear the highway. A little stream along here. They do like nesting over water when possible. And that's the first box. The next one we're going to go to was last year's attempted nesting, which was taken out by raccoons. Fortunately, they only got the eggs from the evidence that we found, but we're hoping to have better luck this year. So again, there's box number 1. We'll check in at box number 2. And now we're at box number 2. This is the one that had an attempted nesting last year. I'm going to show you inside, and you can see where some of the remnants of the nest are left over from last year. It appears that we had some bees of some sort or some moths nest in there. Just removing the old material. I'm not going to worry about any of the other residents inside the box right now. I'm going to close it up. Use this seal, and there's a tree swallow overhead already. And he is fussing over us. He's already claimed this box. So little fella, we're going to clean this up for you, and we're going to do what we can to make things right for you. I'm sorry. Give me just a second and I'll quit messing with your box. There he is right there. That's a tree swallow. Great mosquito eaters. They'll eat 1,000 mosquitoes in a day. Handsome little guy, isn't he? So if he'll just excuse me for a moment. There goes a black-crowned night heron behind him. I'm going to clean out. I'm going to finish sealing up the box so the raccoons don't get his nest this year. You see, it's just a matter of making sure the door's closed properly, and we drive the nail in by hand, the screw in by hand. Geez. Make sure that's good and tight. We still have our witness over here. He's probably still mad at me. I can't blame him, but this is going to be for his good, for his kind, and for ours. I'm right-handed, so I'm filming with my right hand. He's telling me to get the hell out of here, which I'm going to do very quickly. Okay, that's getting sealed now. Push it in just a little bit. Screw's just starting to hit it. You see a little bit of a split starting to form there, so I'm going to stop in about 2 seconds. I don't want to give an edge for a predator to grab, but at the same time I don't want the box to split open at the front either. That ought to be enough. And I'm going to back off let this nest get claimed properly. And it's going to be on to nest number 3, which is a little more difficult to get to because the tide's coming up, as you see. And look how close we are to human activity here. So he'll be a little bothered by my fussing over his nest, and hopefully not too bothered. I'm going to check it from a distance in the future. I don't come right on top of him after today. And that's looking upstream, up the Indian River. This is the tidal portion. Our other box is well upstream of this one. I keep them out of sight of each other. Alright, so box number 2 is all set and already has somebody claiming it. And off to box number 3. Okay, we're on our way to box number 3. This is, you could call this one grandmother's house because you have to go across the river and through the woods to get to it. This is the Indian River here. This is the head tide. You saw a little bit of the Fishway just a second ago. It's a matter of making your way across the stream here. It's not too strong today, even though there's been some flooding recently. Water's very murky. It's going to make fish viewing conditions really bad. But it's a nice sunny day. And tide should still be low enough for me to easily make it across. There's the bottom of the Fishway. And again, you can see we're in a real semi-urban environment here. Shows the resilience of wildlife. In fact, I understand that the Bronx River is even expecting an alewife run this year. So this is nothing. This is a historic run here that's been restored partially by the building of the Fishway. Before that, the fish really had to settle for spawning in the pond below, and it's a lot more efficient. They really alewives, river herring spawn in quieter ponds than this most of the time. Nice quiet wooded area in here. Well, not quiet. You can hear the highway again. A lot of non-native plants here that need to be removed eventually. Multiflora rose from Japan. Planted originally as a wildlife cover. That was a mistake because our wildlife really doesn't utilize it as much as it could. And all it did is crowd out beneficial native species. Sometimes we're better off not tinkering too much. And coming up on another spot, I'm going to have to look for a crossing over here. That mud down there makes for a really miserable passage. So I'm going to shut off for a second. The box is across the river from here. I'll pick up from there. And now we're at nesting box number 3, the last one that we're going to check, and thought I'd finally show myself since I narrate all these things. But once again, we're in a nice location for the birds. This is probably the worst of the 3 spots that I've picked out, but it's still over water. But you can see there's a good amount of Phragmites over here, and another non-native plant that interferes with the local wildlife. I've got a maple tree that overhangs this box a little bit. Might interfere with the swallows a little. And right over here, this is an elderberry that's come up on its own. That's a native plant. I'm going to leave it alone. If it wasn't native, I'd cut it down right away. But I want to encourage the native plants to grow here for obvious reasons. You can hear the swallows in the background. And they're checking out the river. They look like they're pretty active with each other. And hopefully they'll select this box too. This is one of 3 that I put in last year. And you can see it's closed up now. So let's check it and see if there's anything inside. Open up, see if there's a surprise. Hornets. That's always a surprise. And nothing. So we're good to go here. We can just seal it up again, close it up, and again we're sealing it up so Rocky Raccoon can't take advantage of our nesting birds here. Blackbirds nearby, they'll be nesting in the brush. And this one again probably has the least chance of use, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. You saw me screw one in earlier, so you don't need to see me do it again. Okay, so now it's time for a tour of the real project at hand, which is the Clark Pond Fishway. I've volunteered on this project for 21 years now. I started in 1994 as a state volunteer. The area for 75 feet below the fishway is closed to fishing. There's native panfish that live in the pond down below. Sometimes we see bass. We had 1 striped bass in the fishway last year, but this is the entryway. This is how we check it. Just going to walk right in. Water's a little high, so we have to be careful. And we often see fish in the first weir here. It's early season yet. It's been quite cold, and that keeps the herring out until the temperature goes up to around 50 degrees. And then we'll start to see a run develop. This is originally a project of the Milford Striped Bass Club and the state of Connecticut DEP. It was already 2 years old when I started it. They'd pretty much given up on it, but it was kind of funny because that was the year the run really took off. Also, the herring run here tends to be late. A lot of runs around the state are already started. We may be weeks away from anything. So you can see the fish can enter here. And then swim upstream through the lower weirs here. Herring are not strong swimmers, so it's very important that they have an easy time up. Sometimes we see them go up the sides, easy spots over here, rather than go up the main current. But they can go up, they can rest in a couple of the smaller pools here, and then continue on up into the upper fishway. We've had rain lately, so it's going to be a difficult passage for anything today. Also difficult to count. I'll step over this weir. There's another good counting location. It looks like in addition to the tree swallows, or barn swallows are coming back. They nest in here. Under these, as it were. We have a whole barn swallow colony. Started with just a couple of birds. This is way too fast for anything to go up right now in terms of a herring. And we really don't have any trout in here. And definitely no salmon. It starts to get deep in this spot. One of the places I can look and count. Check and make sure the fishway is running nicely. Clark Pond up above. And that's where they spawn right now. The long-term goal would be to get a run up to Indian Lake upstream of here. There's a look back down again. And that's our tour. You might ask, why do I do this? I've been doing this for 21 years now. I started as a state volunteer in 1994, like I said. I grew up fishing for herring in the Mill River in Fairfield, Connecticut. And we use them as bait for striped bass. Hell, we even use them as fertilizer, just like the natives did at one time. And the herring aren't doing so well right now. But we are. And we can make things right as best we can. We don't even know why the herring are missing like they were, because the run's been strong. Back in the 90s, we had thousands of herring come through here, and now we're down to hundreds again. Something's happening at sea, we don't know what it is. But it's important that we do what we can here at our level. And I'm just one guy, but if everybody did a little bit of something, we'd all be a little bit better off, wouldn't we? This is my project, and my little pet project here, the Clark Pond Fishway in Milford, Connecticut. I'm Ray Baldwin, reminding you that Subaru loves the earth, but so do I. And thank you for watching.